it's your girl from Philly. Welcome to another episode of Handcrafted Wines, where we make great wine from home the fun and easy way. Before we get started, please remember to like, share, subscribe, and click that notification bell so you don't miss any episodes.
I'm stuck in a cloud, drifting away to get out.
In today's episode, we're making blackberry wine, and our ingredients are 4.5 pounds of blackberries that I rinsed and I set in the refrigerator overnight with a Campden tablet to kill off any microbes or bacteria that might be on the fruit. We also have 3 cups of white sugar, and our usual players are going to be pectic enzyme, our acid blend, the dynamic duo, which is our yeast nutrient and our yeast energizer, of course our tannin because we want that rich flavor, and our yeast is going to be Red Star Premier Classique. So let's get started. The very first thing I'm going to do is dissolve 2 of my 3 cups of sugar into my fermenter. Okay. Now the reason I'm starting with 2 is this is my very first time working with blackberries, so I'm not absolutely sure if I will need a full 3 cups of sugar. I'll see how it goes with 2 cups, and then we can move from there if I need to add more for the gravity. Okay. I actually ended up adding 2.5 cups, but that's okay. I don't think that would be way too much. I'm going to add our hot water. Now we have a lot of fruit, so I have to be very careful about how much water I'm adding. That should be enough to dissolve our sugar. Now I was reading up on blackberries when I decided to make this wine, and one of the things that I learned was blackberries have the ability to help regulate blood sugar. I never knew that. Not that I have an issue with blood sugar, but it's just nice to know that you can add to your current recommendation from your doctor by eating healthy foods that would help contribute to what your goal is. And because we use such little water, it's taking a moment to dissolve all of these crystals. Yeah, I still feel crystals in the bottom of the fermenter. Now, I didn't add to this recipe any lemon juice or anything additional, just because since it's my first time, I want to get the experience of exactly what the blackberry wine would taste like. And then once I make this batch, if I feel in the future with my next batch that I want to add a little pop of lemon, I'll do that. Okay, so all our sugar has been dissolved. We're going to add our straining bag. This is a brand new bag. This is a brand new bag that I've already washed. I just do a quick wash in some Campden, but I'm going to blitz it with some Star Sand. Okay. Now we're going to add our fruit, and I have a lot of fruit, so I may, like I did with the mango habanero, I may blitz it halfway. But the reason that I got so much fruit is all the recipes that I saw for blackberry wine did call for at least 4 to 4.5 pounds of blackberries. And since I wanted this to be a rich wine, I went ahead with the 4.5 pounds. Oh, I can see my fingers are going to be stained today. Now, I've tasted blackberry wine before, but I've never made it myself. So I'm really curious to see what this is going to come out to taste like. And I'm interested in seeing what the specific gravity is going to be with 4.5 pounds of fruit and so far 2.5 cups of sugar. This is a lot of fruit. Look at my fingers. They're turning blackberry purple. Now, have you ever tried working with blackberries with your wine? If so, leave me a comment and let me know how it's going or how it went. I'm pretty excited about this one. I'm going to keep this around, I want to say until the end of the year, probably closer to the holiday time, like Thanksgiving and, Christmas time, just to have this type of wine, which to me seems like, a very deep, look at that, a very deep, rich color wine that would look nice at during the holidays and taste good too. All right, so I'm going to squeeze this. And I may start blitzing soon because apparently these berries are really heavy. And if I'm not able to use them all, I just won't. I would at least like to get the juice that's in the bottom of this bowl. All right, so I'm going to add some cold water to it now, blitz them, and see how far down they go. I'm going to move our usual players out the way so we don't get water in them. I think right there for now it's good. Oh, yeah, they're breaking up nicely. I don't think I have much. Ooh, look at that. Oh, that's so pretty. I don't think I have much to worry about. It blitzed down into pulp really quickly. Looking for a good resting place for it. Place it here for right now. Let's add some more berries. I'm really hoping to get all 4.5 pounds in here, but we'll see. It's a little messy, but not as messy as that dragon fruit we worked with a couple of weeks ago. That was such a mess. Oh my gosh, cleanup time. It took forever to get that pink out of everything. I'm going to see if we can pour them in. I won't force it if we can't. I did get that juice in, which is great. I'm going to try blitzing it again before I add any more fruit. I think I'm going to try a blackberry too. Now that tastes amazing. Oh, now I'm excited. And And I have tried blackberry jam, and that I like a lot. I've never tried making jams. It might be something I'll try in the future. Now, what I'd like to do now, because we're getting pretty full and this batch looks pretty viscous, I'm going to take a gravity reading now to see where we are, to see if we should be adding the rest of the fruit. I won't close the straining bag yet, though. Some fruits have less body. Some fruits have a lot of body. This appears to have a lot of body to it. And that looks like about a half pound, but I'll measure it for sure if I end up not using it, just so we know exactly how much blackberries we used. And I'll put it in the description for everyone. Okay. That's a nice, deep, rich color. Now, the difference with this sprayer is it sprays everywhere. I may have to go back to my smaller sprayer. Yeah, so this is actually way too viscous, which means that we need to add more water, and I won't be adding any more fruit. Yeah, it's okay. I can eat them. But I will weigh the fruit that's left to see what the difference is, and I'll put it in the comments. So let's put this back first. Fill it to that line with water. And now I'm going to close our straining bag. I won't go any further. As far as the fruit, I tell you, when you read the recipes, I mean, they always vary, but you can't always go by what you read. It really is experimental. You have to take the time to kind of figure it out yourself as to what works for you and what doesn't. And oftentimes, even though someone's making a 1 gallon batch, they may be using like the big mouth bubbler or a larger fermenter that would, hold more so that your yield would be 1 gallon. In this case, we're using an actual 1 gallon jar. So it may not take as much as another vessel would. I like these jars though. I've gotten really comfortable using these. Okay. I'm going to press this down so the fruit and the water incorporates. And at this point, we wouldn't be adding the rest of the sugar at all. And whatever the gravity reading is what we're going to go with. So if it's higher than what I'm expecting, then we'll probably have a lot of residual sugar, but I'm not going to be removing anything from the batch. Okay, so let's take another gravity reading. Maybe I can adjust the spray on this one. Let's see if that helps. I know it's a stream. I'll figure it out. I'll get it together. Okay. Now for our second reading. I really love this color though. It's so deep. One thing about making wine is it's not an exact science. It's even when following recipes, it's kind of trial and error. You have to find out what works for you. Now everything's covered in purple. Let's try this reading now. That's a little bit better. Okay, that's actually a good place. So we're just at the top of the blue line. And I'm happy with that. Let's see what that reading is. It just goes right past the blue line. So the reading is 1.111, and the potential gravity, according to my hydrometer, is so weird because it skips from 10 to 15, and it's a lot of space in between that. So I would say it's about 14 to 15%, but I'm going to go to brewersfriend.com and just check for sure. And that's a starting gravity of 1.111. Was that right? Yeah, 1.110. And we're expecting our final gravity to be about 0.990. So this tells me that this has the potential to be 15.75%. Now, with Premier Classique, it goes to about 15% and then it stops fermenting. So we'll have some residual sweetness with this. But this is like a very, very rich wine. Okay, now we're going to add our usual players. Starting with our pectic enzyme, which we definitely need in this type of batch because it's a berry, which means there's a lot of pectin in it, and it will prevent the pectic haze that you get from too much pectin, as well as break down the fruit so we get a lot of fruit flavor and a lot of fruit color. This was our acid blend. We're not using lemon this time, but doesn't mean we won't in the future. And this is our dynamic duo, our yeast nutrient and yeast energizer. And then we're going to dissolve our tannin. I definitely want tannin in this batch. This is a deep red fruit, so we would have qualities like a Merlot. At least that's what I'm going for with this batch. Now this tannin, it tricks me because it looks like it's completely dissolved already. But every time I look at the bottom, you will see some left over. Oh, actually, we did good this time. I'll put this over here. And since that's been in tannin, that won't go back in the fruit. And then the last thing we're going to add is our Premier Classique. After I stir the usual players around a little bit, I'm seeing a little bit of fruit that's sitting on the side. Get in there. Okay. So well, I'm thinking this was 4 pounds that we ended up using. I'm going to measure this, weigh this soon, but yeah, I think next time that I make this batch, I will just do the 4 pounds. Now I don't see any clumps or lumps, so it looks like everything dissolved in this batch very well. All right, so we're going to add our yeast. And I'm a little concerned about it activating in such a viscous batch, but we'll see how it hydrates. Oh, it's doing pretty good. Yeah, it's okay. So not too viscous. I'm getting a little bit clumps of yeast, but that's all right. They'll make their way around. Okay. Now, to be honest with you, this batch is really a little hard to see everything in it, so because it's so dark. So I'm just going to believe that everything is fine. Oh, I still see some. around the edge of the jar. Oh, but they are hydrating nicely, which is good. So I don't think I have anything to worry about with this batch. And this is kind of full, so I'm going to keep my eye on it very, very closely, at least today and tomorrow, to make sure that the must is not pushing through the airlock, because I don't want to have to deal with a blowout. So the next thing I'm going to do is add the lid. This is so weird. The other way. That shut it off. That's great. Perfect. So our lid with a drill hole and grommet. I got to start saying everywhere, guys. And let's fill our airlock. I do like how this bottle fills the airlock though. It goes right in. Okay, that's perfect. All right, that's good right there. All right, this is our experiment with blueberry wine. We have, I think, 4 pounds of blueberries in this batch, and we used 2.5 cups of sugar. Our usual players, we use all of our usual players with this. I'm going to be stirring this every day for the next 7 days, keeping an eye on this, just because I want to see what happens as far as activity, especially with it being a high pectin fruit. Again, it would be wine in about 8 weeks. It would be tasty wine in 3 months, good wine in about 6 months, and great wine in about 12 months. I think this is going to probably hit the 7 or 8 month mark with me before we start drinking it. All right, well, that's it for today. I want to thank you again for spending time with me. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, click the notification bell, tell your friends, make some comments, make some wine, and have a fantastic day, guys. Bye-bye.